Growing up in the royal palace of Hastinapur, the 105 Kuru princes lived under a thin veneer of family unity. They shared the same tutors, ate at the same tables, and played in the same courtyards. But childhood games quickly exposed a massive physical imbalance. Bhima, the second Pandava brother, possessed a raw, intimidating strength, easily tossing his cousins, the 100 Kauravas, into the river during wrestling matches and water sports. For the eldest Kaurava, Duryodhana, these daily defeats were a constant source of humiliation. Every time he was thrown to the dirt, a festering jealousy, irsha, took root in his mind. Looking at Bhima's towering frame, Duryodhana arrived at a cold realization. He could never defeat his cousin in a fair fight. If he wanted Bhima gone, he would have to use deception. Driven by insecurity, the young prince bypassed the training grounds and sat down to map out the very first premeditated assassination plot of the Mahabharata. The plan began with a grand feast at a riverbank pavilion. Duryodhana ensured that Bhima's favorite dishes were heavily laced with a lethal, fast-acting poison known as vish. Bhima ate massive portions of the tainted food without a second thought. Within minutes, the toxin blurred his vision, and he hits the floor, unresponsive. To hide the evidence, Duryodhana bound his unconscious cousin with strong vines and dragged him to the edge of the water, pushing the heavy body into the violent currents of the Ganga River. Standing on the riverbank, Duryodhana watched the water close over Bhima's head before turning back toward the palace, absolutely certain his greatest rival was dead. He left no witnesses and no trace of foul play. The river swallowed the body, and for Duryodhana, the crime was complete. Beneath the surface, the currents dragged Bhima deeper than any normal drowning. He descended past the riverbed, crossing a threshold into the mystical, submerged realm of Naglok, the domain of the serpents. The moment he entered their territory, aggressive, venomous Naga swarmed his body. They struck repeatedly, injecting highly concentrated venom directly into his bloodstream. The ingested poison spreads first, a dark cloud moving through his veins to shut down vital organs. Then the Naga venom enters. It strikes the original poison, the two substances neutralizing each other until his system is clear. Now awake and cured, Bhima easily broke his bindings. His commotion caught the attention of Nagaraj Vasuki, the king of the serpents. Recognizing Bhima's divine lineage, Vasuki offered the young prince a sacred elixir. Bhima drank from the bowls of this divine nectar. The liquid settled into his marrow, infusing his muscles with the legendary strength of 1,000 elephants. In trying to destroy Bhima, Duryodhana unintentionally provided the ingredients for his growth. The poison, the drowning, and the snake bites, all meant to kill, instead combined to forge him into something far more powerful. Back in Hastinapur, days had passed. The Pandavas sat in mourning, accepting that their brother was lost to the river. Then the palace doors pushed open. The royal court froze in shock as Bhima stood in the doorway, radiating a terrifying new physical presence. Duryodhana stared at the man he had murdered, realizing his plot hadn't just failed, but had turned his rival into his greatest nightmare. The roughhousing and childhood games were over. The internal peace of the Kuru household was gone, replaced by an irreversible enmity that would only find its end on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. With the stakes escalating to attempted murder, both factions realized they needed formal military training. They needed a master to teach them the true art of war. In our next episode, a legendary teacher named Guru Dronacharya arrives at the palace, and the world witnesses the emergence of Arjuna's genius with a bow. The war between cousins has already begun. Before the first arrow is shot, Bhima and Duryodhana lock eyes, bound by a hatred that changes history. To see this epic rivalry unfold, make sure to like, leave a comment, share, and subscribe to the Okpoti Files. We'll see you in the next episode.